Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Five Questions with the Paulist. We're going to go down to Washington, D.C. and Hecker House. That's where the seminarians live. And here is one of our newest seminarians, Joseph Solomon. Congratulations on taking your first promise with the Paulist Fathers.
Thanks, Deacon Mike. It's so good to be here. Honestly, it's so surreal that it's been about like a month, and I'm still starting to get used to putting CSP at the end of my last name, and I kind of forget how to do CSP in cursive. So it looks like a 5-year-old kind of scratched that in.
That's very funny. Let's get right into it with question one. You met the Paulists at UCLA while you were a focus missionary. And so, what was the one thing that really attracted them to you?
Ooh. So UCLA was one of those experiences that I actually never expected the Lord to put in my life. But before I became a focused missionary, I was a seminarian for my diocese back at home. And after I discerned with them for a few years, I had this calling from the Lord to take a step out to really discern my vocation. And He, in His great wisdom, took me from Chicago and He flew me as far west as possible to Los Angeles. And when I got my assignment, I was so surprised that I opened my letter and welcome to UCLA. Oh my God, I don't want to go there. But through God's great wisdom, I was able to meet the Paulist Fathers there. And it was actually with seminarian Chris Milano, who was assigned as St. Paul the Apostle, that I got to know the Paulist Fathers. I got to love the charism, and I really got to walk with college students. And it really allowed me to have this openness to mission, to evangelization, especially to those who are outside the church.
That's awesome. Question two, you're a third degree black belt in Taekwondo. So, what's one way that the discipline of Taekwondo has helped your prayer life?
Well, the funny thing is, I was a black belt in Taekwondo, but I still am. But the great thing is, like our habit also has a black belt, so I'm like, oh, I get to wear this on the outside nowadays. But I think one of the best things about doing Taekwondo, I did it for about 10 years, and it was one of those disciplines that it's really a mental game that I had bricks that I had to break for my exams. And when you look at three bricks and you're like, I have to break this with my hand, I don't know how that's possible. But that's similar to how the faith life is, where I want to become a saint. I want to be like Saint Thomas Aquinas, or I want to be like Saint Therese of Lisieux. These people are so holy. How can I be as holy as them? But then it's little steps that allow you to grow in your faith life, that allow you to become holy, to imitate Jesus. And that's how we become saints. And my job is not to be a saint by myself. I want to bring you with me to become a saint. I want to bring you to become a saint. And honestly, that discipline is really what's keeping me to keep going up.
Breaking holy bricks as you go along. Question three, what's the best part of being a Paulist seminarian?
Ooh. One of the best things is one, like I get to wear this on special occasions. The habit is one of those things where I was given when you make your first promises. But then honestly, living here in Washington, D.C. has been such a blessing where I'm driving down Capitol and I look in front of me, it's the US Capitol. And I said, what am I doing in the nation's capital? But then I see also the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial. But really it's being here in Hacker House and being with the brothers that has been one of the biggest blessings, and really getting to meet the other Paulists from West Coast to East Coast and everywhere in between, and even Rome, having these connections to great and holy priests who are really guiding people along the way. That's one of the biggest lessons about being a seminarian right now.
That's great. Question four, if you knew someone who was thinking about leaving the church or was going to stop going to mass, what's one thing that you would say to them to give them hope?
My gut reaction was don't. But it's a lot more complicated than that. My first question for them would be, how is your relationship with the Lord? Because really, it's like equating a relationship that you have with a best friend and then just saying, I'm going to ghost you. But then when you ghost someone, you never really just like say, I'm ghosting you. You just slowly stop talking to them. If someone is thinking about leaving the church, I would ask them, How are you speaking with the Lord? Are you speaking to him as a friend? Are you telling him about what's going on in your heart? Are you telling the high moments, the low moments? Are you actually picking up the scriptures? Are you actually learning more about God's infinite love and mercy for you? And if they say, I am, how is your relationship to other people who are practicing the faith? Because really, this faith is not meant to be lived on your own. This faith is actually meant for community. And that's why the Lord actually puts brothers, sisters, even people who are more experienced than you to walk with you on this faith journey. And that's my biggest really push. Don't do this faith by yourself. Walk with the Lord and walk with others.
And question five, speaking of walking with others, we usually walk with others around a meal somewhere. And so if you had one restaurant that you could only eat in that one restaurant for the rest of your life, what would that restaurant be?
Ooh, that's a really good question. When I was living in Los Angeles, I was so blessed to have so many different cuisines. And honestly, one of my favorite meals is a good Filipino meal. And if I had this meal or this restaurant for the rest of my life, I probably wouldn't even make it to 50. But my favorite restaurant, honestly, is this restaurant. It's a Filipino fast food chain. It's called Jollibee, and it's a fried chicken place, but it's honestly it's miles better than Popeyes and KFC. And I think the chicken is great, but then honestly the spaghetti with the sweet banana ketchup sauce and the hot dogs. I know it doesn't sound great, but then it's a Filipino delicacy. You have it at the parties. If you have a Jollibee that's close by to you, I recommend that you go. And honestly, if I had a Jollibee and I get to go on my birthday, that would be the first place I would go.
This show is not sponsored by Jollibee, just to be, on the straight and narrow there. But yeah, that's a great place. I've been there myself, so it's a great place. So, Joseph Solomon, thanks so much for joining us. This has been so great. Congratulations once again on your first promise as a Paulist.
Thanks, Deacon Mike. It was so good to be with you. And honestly, thank you for all of your prayers. Really, it's because of just the people here that I've been able to just say yes to the Lord one step at a time. So, God willing, in a few years, we'll see where I go.
This has been Five Questions with the Paulist. I'm Deacon Mike Hayes. He is Joseph Solomon of the Paulist Fathers now as a seminarian. We'll see you all again next time.